So in the previous video, I have just shown you passing an argument, and they were very simple arguments like integer type. Now I'll show you passing and modifying arguments for all the other types. We have already seen number and string. So number and string are very straightforward. And what happens is that if you modify that particular value inside of the function, then function scoping comes into picture. So the LGB rule applies, and let's say we pass x and the x is modified inside of the function. That is only in the temporary memory area of the function, not in the entire program. Then you have list also, and in list all modifications of elements are allowed. We can run all these commands: extend, append, insert, remove, etc. Everything is allowed inside of the function. And we can create a new list also, and we can assign a new list also. We can initiate a list and we can assign a new list also. In tuple, of course, no modification is allowed because by itself tuple does not allow modifications. So if we pass set, all modifications can be done on the variable inside of the function, meaning that these functions like add, pop, remove, discard, etc. are allowed inside of the function, and the impact would be global, not local. That's what I meant in the modification. Then we can initialize a set also, and we can assign new set also. Dictionary, all modifications can be done like updating a key, clearing the entire dictionary, and deleting a key from the dictionary. The impact would be global. And we can initialize a dictionary also. Now let us go ahead and do these in hands-on to show you what do I mean. So now what will I do here is that I will define 5 functions, and each function would modify one of the type. Okay, so these are the 4 or 5 functions that I have defined. And the first one is defining a function which will modify integer or string. The second one would modify list. The third one would modify set. Fourth one would modify dictionary, and the fifth one would modify tuple. Now, of course, I have not defined all the functions. Now, is it even possible? So let's say you want to create the skeleton of the function, or at least the definition of the function, and you do not want to define anything. What we can do, we can use this pass keyword. So what would happen if you define pass? That it means that the function will not do anything. So I can define pass in all the cases. So in all the functions, so none of them would do anything as of now because we have not defined anything, right? So first, let's go ahead and define a variable is. So is is integer and string. First, let me send integer, and you already know what it is. So if I print var is and then call mod int string, and I pass var is, and then I will print var is. Okay, call is not needed, sorry, my bad. So now what would happen, I am passing 100, and here it has the value is getting changed. So LGB rule would apply now, and first print would show me 100, the second print would show me inside function, and the third print would show me 100 again. So this is something that we have already seen. So 100 inside function and 100, which is fine. So variable is working. And similarly, if I send a string, let's say, and I change it to 2000 inside of the function, and if I run it, so it will be 3 IAM 2000 and again 3 IAM. So the LGB rule would apply. As you can see, these are the output. This is something which you are already familiar with. You already know how it works. Now, if I try with the complex variables, things would be a little different. So what will I do? I'll define a variable list. I will have multiple values, right? So I'll have a string first. Let's say 3 IAM. It can be, you can call it 3 IAM or 3 IAM. 3 IAM is in Sanskrit and 3 IAM is in English. Okay, the next one would be, let's say, 2000. And then I pass a list with data engineer and machine learning. And then I send a dictionary also. Program would be maybe Python. Program 1 is Python, and program 2 is SQL. So this is the list that I'm sending, and I can call the function. Nothing would happen actually. So the function is mod list. So let me print it here, print var list, and let me comment this one and put var list here again. So nothing would happen because I have mentioned pass. Okay, I'll have to pass var list because it will give you error like missing one required positional argument, which is var list. Why it is needed? Because I have mentioned an argument here. So I'll have to pass some value, and now if I execute, it will execute. Now nothing has happened inside of the function. So now let me define inside of the function. Now what will I do is I'll just print var list. So inside of the function also it would be same. So now I'll see 3 times it is similar. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some modifications. Okay, so let's say the first element I will modify, which is 3 IAM. I'll modify it to 3 underscore IAM. Now I have modified only one element, and let's see the output and look at the final 2 output. See, it has changed. But let me show you one more thing. Let me change var list completely. So I'll not. Now what would happen? Pause the video and think about it. So now here what I'm doing, I'm not changing individual elements. I'm changing the entire variable. So pause the video and think about what would be the output in these 3. Just a hint, LGB rule would apply. Now if I execute this, so as you can see, the first one is fine, second one is ABC, and the third one is same. So LGB rule applied. Why it is the case? Because here I'm not changing individual element. I'm changing the entire variable. So the entire address location has been changed inside of the function using ABC. So that's why LGB rule got applied. But if I, let's say, change individual element, then it will go ahead and change the memory area. So that's why it worked. Let me change one more thing. So let's say var list third element and the first element of the third element, which is data engineering, and I'll change it to data ENGG, and basically I'm capitalizing. So if I execute, it has changed. Oh sorry, it should be 0th element, my bad. So let me add the 0th element as machine learning, and I'll capitalize it. I could have used the capitalize function also, which we had discussed long back. Now what would happen? So it has changed because I modified the individual element. The same thing would be true for the dictionary also. And let's say var list and the key program 1. Instead of Python, let's say I mentioned Java, and var list program 2 instead of SQL, I mentioned PostgreSQL. So now what would happen? Of course, these would also change, and with a global impact. Okay, so there's some problem. It should be the 4th element. So I'll have to get the 4th element first because this is inside of an array. Now it should work. And as you can see, program has been changed to Java and program 2 has been changed to PostgreSQL. All right, so this is how we can do modification in list. Same can be done with modification of set also and modification of dictionary also, just like I have done it for list. Tuple you cannot do. You cannot modify a tuple that you already know. So I'll keep these functions empty so that you can practice it to modify sets and dictionaries and tuples.